Welcome to Coffee Talk, my irregular, unscripted series that I only make when I have an opportunity to do a video like this. Yeah, so there's been a lot happening within the Digimon world. Not Digimon world for the PlayStation 1, but our world, which has Digimon in it, including products, merchandise, and media. So I know it's been a while since I've done a Digimon-related video, and I had some stuff planned for earlier in the year, but unfortunately, between my school schedule and a Gossip Girl video that was originally supposed to be about half the amount of work, I haven't had enough time to do some of the more big effort videos like a Digimon related video. I wanted to do a Last Evolution movie review when that came out, but unfortunately due to the certain global crisis happening right now, that movie either had its release delayed or canceled definitely. Right now I am working on an Applemon review that I'm hoping to have out within a month, and then I want to start diving into the Digimon video games more this summer. I have not forgotten about Digimon. I just want to let you guys know that. So yeah, Digimon news. There's been a lot of really exciting stuff happening. Earlier this year, I made a YouTube community post and a tweet where I was talking about how this year really feels like Bandai and Toei are trying to do a big Digimon relaunch to get it kind of back into the public eye. And hopefully at some point this year, we are finally going to get Digimon Survive, which is the sort of tactical RPG that's coming out. This game has been delayed so many times, and I'm hoping this global crisis that I keep mentioning isn't going to make that game delayed yet again. But besides that, there's been a lot of really cool merch. I really want to get that Metal Greymon statue. And then we got that April Fool's Day joke a couple days ago where they made Omnimon look like two Metabots, Metabee and the other main Metabot, which I can't remember right now, and then they redesigned Omnimon to look like a Metabot. It was really cute. That new card game coming out looks incredible. The artwork just blows me away, and I'm really hoping at some point soon we get a US release because I will play the heck out of that card game. Also, those Angewomon sleeves, I'm going to import those regardless if the game comes over here. And then finally, out of nowhere, they announced they were doing a Digimon Adventure reboot with some of the writing staff from Digimon Adventure 02, and wow, this came out of nowhere, and I was so excited because I've wanted a Digimon Adventure remake or reboot for like over a decade at this point. I know a lot of people were kind of disappointed by the announcement because it seems like they've been really relying on Digimon Adventure nostalgia for the past few years, and I know why people are disappointed. They want to see either new Digimon series or they want to see a return to things like Digimon Tamers or Digimon Frontier. I truthfully think Digimon Adventure is the best series to keep returning to over the other two, primarily because the other two are more story-based. I mean, something like Digimon Tamers is an auteur piece from Chiaki Konaka, and it is a storyline that has an open and closed book and themes that are very personal to the creator. And making a continuation of that requires a lot more creative thinking and requires input from the original creative team in order to make it genuine to the original. But something like Digimon Adventure to me has always been about the characters. It's not about the plot. And because of that, I think it lends itself to continuation a lot more. I mean, the best parts in Digimon Adventure 02 are when we see those kids growing up. Digimon Adventure works for a continuation or for a reboot because as long as the characters are true to themselves and as long as their character relationships remain intact, it is good. Unfortunately, that seems to be the case with the reboot thus far. The reason why I've wanted a Digimon Adventure reboot specifically is because I think Digimon Adventure has some of the most interesting and fun character dynamics, and it's some of the most heartwarming portrayals of childhood that I've seen. I mean, I adore Digimon Adventure, and even though there's a lot of things wrong with it in terms of its limited animation, its wonky English dub, it is something that always surprises me because the good elements of Digimon Adventure are phenomenal. And I want to be able to share that with my friends. Getting people into Digimon is something that's very difficult to do. There's not a clear entry point into the series. So I'm really excited about this reboot because I'm really hoping it'll be a great entry point into the series. And for for a few people I know, I think I'm already kind of selling them on it. I watched the first episode with Nico, who's my cameraman and really close childhood friend, and he said he was willing to come over and watch the episodes weekly with me because he liked the first episode enough to give it a chance. I have never had that happen with people with Digimon before. I always show them the first episode to one of the anime and they're like, okay. And I'm also watching it with Arizona, my lovely girlfriend who watched Digimon as a kid and is using this opportunity to sort of be reintroduced to it outside of listening to me scream about it in the office while she sits in the living room. Is that a lie? No. So episode 1 came out earlier last weekend from the date I'm posting this video, and wow, it was very good. It was not good in the ways that I was expecting it to be good, but that just makes it better in my eyes. I'm gonna say now, I do have my reservations about where it's going to go after episode 1, but episode 1 was a great episode 1. So if you don't want spoilers for the first episode, truthfully, in my opinion, it's the first episode and getting spoiled isn't too big of a deal. But if you want it to be a surprise, I will have spoilers in this video. Go watch it now. That is my review, my one-word review, my recommendation, go see it. So the first thing that kind of, I don't wanna say caught me off guard, but was one of the first things I noticed is it seems like they're going to be doing slower character introductions. In the original Digimon Adventure, they introduced all 7 of the main cast plus their Digimon in the first episode, but it seems to me that they want to get you to know the characters one by one, or at least a couple at a time. The first episode really only features Tai and Izzy, and there is cameos from all the other characters, including Kari and Matt, but it is about the relationship between Tai and Izzy and establishing their roles within what will eventually become the group. Tai as sort of this courageous young hothead, and Izzy as the sort of Wade from Kim Possible who sits behind the computer and gives sort of directions and commands. Focusing solely on Tai and Agumon as the only Digimon relationship in episode 1 also allows us to be introduced to the world through his eyes. In the original Digimon series, when they first get to the digital world, they use the opportunity for a lot of comedy. I mean, Tai screams and kind of, is like, what the heck are you? You're pink and you're weird looking, and it's haha funny. But in this series, they kind of focus more on the awe of the giant monster and monster fighting aspect. When Tai's first introduced to Koromon that becomes Agumon, he's just sort of like, he doesn't know what to say and he's just staring at it. And I like that. I don't know if I like it better than the original series, but I like that tone a little bit more, because to me, it seems like they're getting into how special the relationship between the kid and the Digimon is pretty early on. I mean, the moment where Tai is falling into the digital world and it's playing this gorgeous music as he saves Koromon is a really thoughtful and epic moment. It's not playing it for comedy. And then once they get into the fighting, it looks pretty heckin' good. I mean, we're so used to the RPG style recycled animations from the original Digimon series that watching these characters in a TV show animated well is something that alone is worth watching it for. And on top of that, the action is continuous. When Agumon digivolves to Greymon, he keeps fighting while transforming. There are no more transformation sequences that break up the action. I was really disappointed not to hear Braveheart in this episode, but seeing that they're not doing transformations anymore made the pain a little less severe. I actually prefer this a lot more. I mean, in episode 1 of Digimon Adventure 2020, they have the best Digivolution scene ever. Agumon growing and not cutting to a transformation sequences, and then the stripes and the horns, and then him grabbing the other monster's tentacle things is really cool to see. It was the moment that made me realize that this is going to be its own show that has the potential to be something special, and I really hope it is. It's also interesting to watch a brand new Digimon Adventure series because you can tell they have a better idea of what they want Digimon to look like and to be. I mean, something I don't love has been that Tron cyber-esque world that a lot of recent Digimon series has used, the whole little subway thing. I hope we get a more robust Narnia-esque digital world eventually in this series, because that's the digital world I prefer. I'm really happy they want this show to stand on its own while also calling back to the original series and to some of the more loved aspects of the original series. I mean, there were a couple shots in this episode that were clearly trace versions of Greymon's fight from the Digimon Adventure 1999 movie. I hate that this is now the like third or fourth thing we have in Digimon called Digimon Adventure. That is not easy to remember, and it doesn't help that two of them both came out in 1999, so it's not like you can refer to the original movie as Digimon Adventure 1999 and the series. It's really the perfect blend for old fans and new fans. Thus far. So the first episode was great, but I do have my reservations to where the series may go moving forward, and I'm really hoping that this is just me being a cautious fan after being burned ever so slightly by Digimon Adventure Tri. What I would like this series to be is a remix of Digimon Adventure and Adventure 02 and Digimon Adventure Tri. I want them to touch upon a lot of similar plot beats, but in unique ways. I mean, it seems like the first arc they're going to do in this original series is going to be our war game, which may seem like they're rushing into things, but if it's going the way I think it's going to go, they won't be. This video might not age well. What I think they're doing is I think they're repurposing our war game to be the inciting incident for the series. In Digimon Adventure 02, all of those chosen children were chosen to be the Digidestined because they saw the events from our war game, where the original cast was chosen to be the original Digidestined because they saw the events from the original Digimon movie. It is so confusing. And having our war game this early on tells me that they're going to be returning to a lot of similar plot beats throughout the series, but just through this new lens, which truthfully I think is the best way to go. You can keep those character interactions and dynamics intact while also making the series something new and exciting for older fans. I mean, I want to see something similar but not totally identical to the Devimon arc, to the Myotismon arc. Really, you could do anything else after that. The second thing I'm kind of worried about is that they're setting this up to be a limited series. I don't think that there's any word on how long this series is going to be, but I'm worried it's only going to be like 20 episodes. I think Digimon Adventure kind of works better as an ongoing series. And if they did make it an ongoing series, you could eventually have a second chance on the storylines in Digimon Adventure 02 and Digimon Adventure Tri, and you can watch the characters grow up and make it seem like one continuous narrative as opposed to a bunch of different creative fingers getting into the Digimon Adventure plot and looking at the characters in their own unique way and doing their own unique stories. I want to see the Cthulhu Digimon. Give me a second chance at the Cthulhu Digimon. What I would really like to see is this be a seasonal show where they do like 26 episodes every single year as opposed to something that's released every single week until it's over. The show starts off with just introducing Tai, Izzy, and Agumon, and the intro of at least the first intro, or maybe the only intro for the show, features Tai and Agumon pretty much over any of the other kids. And this is guiding me to think they're going to do these multi-episode story arcs introducing each character, so by the end of season 1, everybody's lined up and we're ready to get more into how the show is going to interact with these characters as a group. Like the Avengers of Digimon. However, what I'm worried about is they're only gonna do the Devimon arc, but we'll see where they go with it. So if you haven't seen it yet, go give the first episode a chance. I really hope this continues to grow into something great that I could show people to and be like, hey, this is that thing I'm really into. This is the tattoo I have on my ankle. Hopefully this video ages well. Hopefully this ends up being a really good series. So anyways, I have more Digimon content coming soon. I have other stuff, highly requested videos coming up for the rest of the month. I'm excited to finally be dedicating more time to YouTube again. Other than that, you can follow me on my social media. Those links are in the description. Subscribe, comment, all that. I'm sure I'll be tweeting out my opinions on the other episodes that will eventually be released. Have a good day. I'm tired. I'm stressed. I'll see you next week.